We're live on
Just
the live stream right now, by the way. Just
oh,
wanted
hello.
I don't think we have any viewers yet, but that's okay.
Am I? Hello. All right, let's roll this in, so no one will get bored. I should record it too, so we can put it up.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
This is the Roaring Riot Podcast, your source for everything in the known universe about the Carolina Panthers. And now, here's Keith, Jayme, and Ashlyn.
Hey there, welcome to the Roaring Riot Podcast, part of the Riot Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. In this episode, we're going to discuss Luke's retirement, all of the coaching changes of the Panthers, and this will probably be my last podcast, at least for a while. We're going to. I was going to tease that up and say, "Hey, stick around for an announcement before the end." But I figured I'd just rip the Band-Aid off and say, there it is. So, hope to be back at some point, and I'll tell you all about that in a bit. But the big retirement has been Luke's announcement. It came, was it last Tuesday night, like 8:30, just out of the blue.
Yeah.
I've just been able to bring myself to watch the video.
Well, we
You've got mail.
We did get some folks to call in, and Cody from Raleigh is he shares his thoughts.
So I'm only mildly depressed. He's probably the greatest Panther to ever play. Hall of Fame linebacker, no doubt. It's just real sad. I'm glad he got to go out on his own terms, but it's just still sad because I love him. But I did notice he maybe was a couple notches below his game this year. I think that's partly due to the fact that we had no defensive line to stuff linemen to keep guards and centers off of them. But that's a whole different topic. But hey, anyway, at least the greatest linebacker of all time spent his time in Carolina, not somewhere else. I'm just sad I need someone to vent to. Anyways, keep pounding, maybe.
That's what we're here for, Cody. So, and I think that he really captured a lot of what everyone felt when that happened. It really was like a stone was dropped on Panther Nation. If you live outside of the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area, you probably missed me being on the local Channel 12 news, an NBC affiliate here. So they were completely desperate. So they hauled me in and sat me down. And
you did great.
Thank you. But
so they bring you in because of the podcast?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's great.
And now I'm leaving it for a bit. So yeah. So there's that. But it was nice sitting down with them. Kirsten Gutierrez, super nice, and we chatted. They used it. They used some stuff from it, and I'm just going to talk about me being on TV now because that's what this is all about. No, really, one of the things that we did discuss.
That's really what's happening.
Yeah,
He's going to go to be a famous sports broadcaster.
Yeah, no, you don't want that. Good Lord, I feel sorry for anybody that pays for that. But one of the things that we did mention was a surprise that Luke retired before Greg. I thought we'd hear of Greg retiring first.
Part of me thought he wanted to get the jump on that Monday Night Football job.
Oh, you think that's what this is?
No. I think Kuechly's more interested in coaching, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. And there have been rumors that he wants to stay with the Panthers. I think
his tweet or whatever said he was open to that. So he just doesn't know right now what it's going to be, but he's open to possibilities in coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I think that anyone who brought him in, that would be one of the best decisions ever. Because think about it. And when he was out with a concussion, was it a couple years ago? He was on the sideline with a headset on and a clipboard in his hand, and I saw him. I said, "That's where I want to see him after he's finished on the field." That's his.
He's the guy that calls the plays as soon as he sees them unfolding before the ball's hiked. I mean, he understands all of that, and it doesn't always translate, but I think Luke could translate well.
Now the trick is, can he teach that skill to other players? And what he does there requires a lot of studying, a lot of film, but it's a fantastic skill, and that's the greatest loss of his retirement for this team, because you have a defensive coordinator on the field who can make adjustments right there on the fly when he's out there telling the defense what to do, because he can read the offense and tell exactly what they're going to do. That was such a awesome thing to watch when it would happen, and especially in 2015. I don't think you'll ever see another linebacker be as good as Luke was at doing that when you go watch him in that season.
Let's get back to something Cody had mentioned there. He mentioned the performance, and we've talked about this as well. And since we're going to get into the coaching changes in just a bit, but we talked about this in a few previous podcasts. Has his performance dropped off? Or, I mean, of course, we could tell it has this year, but what's the reason for that? Is it just because we have a crappy defensive line? Is it because we changed around from a 4-3 to a 3-4? Is it just that our defensive coordinator had no idea what he was doing? And really, Luke was our defensive coordinator on the field.
Yeah.
In addition to being a middle linebacker.
Well, there's a lot, or the fact that Rivera had taken that over and couldn't focus on everything and be in the DC at the same time.
Exactly.
Well, he didn't fall off that much. He still had 144 combined tackles this year, which was, I think, his fourth best season out of the 8. So he was still playing really, really well at a high level. But I did get the sense when you watched him this season that he was holding back. Like, he wasn't...
Well, he can't take another hit. We've known that for
we were
years.
always saying, like, he gets one more big concussion, it's over. And he didn't get that concussion this year, but he probably had some scares.
And I think, Gronk led by a good example of you can be in your prime, but there's still a time to step back and protect what you got for the rest of your life. And I think he was very smart. I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that it happened without fanfare, without everything. Actually, are we? Because Luke was Mr. No fanfare, no anything.
Yeah, he was just straight up. Now,
but it would have been nice to know that we were watching his last game when it was his last game.
Well, yeah.
And you look at him.
We got to celebrate Olsen in that way.
I know. That maybe he didn't want to take away from Olsen, I guess. But
and who's to say Olsen is retiring? I don't know, but he's got another year in him.
That might be true, but I don't think he's coming back to the Panthers.
Would you prefer that Luke announced it now, or pulled the General Andrew Luck and did it right before?
No, this is definitely the time to do it if you're going to do it.
This was so spot on, Luke, of no fanfare. No, don't do a big farewell. Don't do anything like this. Just thanks, guys.
Yeah, 3 minutes. That 3-minute video that he put up was powerful and hard to watch.
Yeah.
It took me until this week to watch it.
I had to watch it. I did a YouTube video last week and I had to watch that thing probably 20 or 30 times because I was trying to find what clip do I want to use, because I was only going to use about 30 seconds. And I'm like, what am I going to use? I had to watch it over and over and over. Like, what really is the best part to encapsulate all this? And it was really that moment where he said that he was going to have to. He realized it was time to hang it up, and like this is the right thing for him to do right now. And
but audio from that clip just doesn't do it, because it doesn't do it justice, just because there's so much emotion in it. Really, really just told you just how much he loves this and how this was just a gut-wrenching decision for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really shocking to see him do this before the age of 30. But I mean, you think about it, like he doesn't have to work another day for the rest of his life if he doesn't want to. I mean, he's accomplished that one goal. But I mean, he's going to have plenty of job opportunities and great opportunities.
He's not stepping away from football. I don't think if that was the thing where it was like, okay, I'm done with football now, I'm going to step away and just do car commercials or whatever. It's not that. There's so many options now for these players. And again, I go back to Gronk only because he was another one that was in his prime, wasn't aged, wasn't, it wasn't a forced retirement. It wasn't anything. It was, hey, I've got to take care of myself too here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, think about Dan Morgan.
Yeah, this is very similar to Dan Morgan, but
I
think it's a much higher profile situation.
Yeah, Dan played a lot longer than he should have.
Yes.
And great player, one of the best linebackers we had until Luke came along, but he had some scrambled eggs up there. That was just he got hit too many times.
I really appreciated what TD said about 58 and 59 forever.
Yeah.
It was cute. And I think that was part of the defense this year too. I think we missed TD. I don't think we took into account what an impact, because we had Luke, TD, and Shaq all going in there. And so I think that was part of it. And
I wish
if you've got up at
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on
no,
your
it's fine.
I just saying I wish we would have kept TD for this past year. And
He had a good season still.
Yeah, it was solid. Yeah, he put up some decent numbers. And we could have used that veteran leadership back there. I think we seriously missed that, and it showed in our run defense.
Something showed in our run defense.
Well, I hope that Luke comes back. I hope he takes a year off and just goes and hangs out in Turks and Caicos or something, and just chills out. And then
You just want to see him on the beach?
I think he should work on
With a Gansevoort?
He should take some acting classes.
Oh gosh, he's too shy to do acting.
No, but he might be good. Like I made a joke saying maybe he could play John Cena's younger brother in a movie or something.
No, I want to see him come back next season on Bonds and come back to linebacker.
I only want to see him with a clipboard and a headset.
Like, seeing Luke and John Cena in a buddy comedy, like an action buddy comedy, could be pretty funny.
You're putting way too much personality in Luke.
I know. I mean, I don't know if he has any acting.
I mean, he's a great
skills
guy. It's not that. He's a nice guy, but he's not the outspoken
He's
out
got
guy.
the looks, though. And
yeah, Jayme, you need to watch some CPI security commercials.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced that he has acting skills, but I mean, that's something that could be learned. Look at John Batista. I mean, he was a really quiet, shy dude too, and then he goes out there and kills it as Drax. So
yeah,
it's possible.
Although the other movie he has coming out now just looks god awful.
What? Not Hobbs and Shaw?
No, it's the
that one actually looked exciting.
And then there was that Uber one or whatever, Stuber, that both were out at the same time. But no, I think with Luke, I mean, but here's the question is, if he comes back as a linebackers coach and the linebackers have a huge tackle, do we still yell Luke because we know he's behind it?
Old habits die hard, don't they?
I mean, if he's on the sideline, maybe.
All right, let's I know how hard it is, and I saw the meme as well. Look, your Panthers friends are not well. Check on them, but I think that we're doing okay now. We're getting by it.
We all just gained the 10 pounds last week of eating our feelings, and now we're back on the exercise bike.
All right, we have not had a chance to chat since Matt Rule was hired as the head coach, and we did talk about the coaching options. And I know that
we said hell no.
Yeah, we did. Not high on that, but looking into it and seeing there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we can just sit here and bitch and bellyache, but it's something that we have to accept. And I like what David Tepper has said. And I like how we've got to look forward. We got to look ahead. And
he's a turnaround guy.
He is a turnaround guy. And he came into Baylor after they were just reeling from the sexual scandal, and he turned them into a very good team. And now he's brought
similar at Temple prior to that.
Yeah. Now, when I got a tweet, or I got a text message from Ashlyn saying we got Brady, and my first thought was, oh, dear God.
No, I would not have been that excited about the we got Brady if it was a different Brady.
Yeah, because I turned to my wife. I'm like, what the? No. Because I wanted Cam to stay too, but I thought it was Tom Brady.
No.
Okay, so yeah, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Okay, fine. Joe Brady, youngest offensive coordinator in the NFL, because that's all anybody's talking about here is his age.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard that part, but I think it's because I've heard so much from him leading up. I mean, my Georgia Bulldogs, we played against LSU in the SEC championship, and being an SEC girl, Brady's been around this last year, and it's been a huge thing, and it's really been more about his relationship with Burrow and what he's doing, but I'm excited about him. The only thing is he's a total passing guy. Like, he's 90% passing, and that's his big thing. But he took Burrow from being, it was funny listening to Gruden say, I had him at the start of the season as a 5th round draft pick. Now he's going to be 1st overall. That was Joe Brady, and that's pretty exciting.
And what did Joe Burrow say about where he would like to go?
Wherever Joe Brady went.
No, whoever's going to pay me. That's what he said.
I know. Well, and I thought, and I'll admit, when this was announced, I thought, well, crap, we're trading up for Burrow. It really is kind of what I thought, because he's developed such a relationship. Now, not to say that Brady can't work with Cam or whoever else comes in, but I thought when it first happened, I went, that's the long game. That's what they were doing, because Brady had, I mean, he was only making $400,000 next year at LSU, and he could get out of his contract for an NFL OC position or a head coach college position that was in his contract. But I just was like, crap, that's the game. We're going to trade Cam. We're going to take that money. We're going to take the picks, and we're going to trade up to that first pick. Well, since he has since squashed my theory by saying, don't even ask, we're not trading that pick. But I think he's in there to develop our next franchise quarterback. I don't know that we'll draft that quarterback this year. Next year, I think there's two very good options coming out of both Clemson and Ohio State. And
You mean Colorado?
Well, but if we're gonna get that
no,
quarterback, but if we're gonna do that quarterback drafting, then that means we have to have a bad year.
it does, or we work on trading around.
We've had 2 bad years so far.
I know. I don't want another one. I mean, I'm kind of bracing myself for it next year. I think it's
Hey, Joe Brady turned around Burrow real fast, so let's see what happens here.
Well, hopefully. He doesn't have a very extensive career, though. I mean, he's only been he graduated 2012 from William & Mary.
Yep.
And so he hasn't even been coaching a decade yet. So
that's what we were. Isn't that what we were talking about?
Yeah, I know. But this what I'm going at here is that this is a big deal for like somebody that young. I mean, to get this head OC position. So,
you think he was brought in to possibly build up Will Grier?
No, please God, no.
That's a good question.
I'm not in that camp yet. And you know what? I could be wrong, but I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. And I think Tepper will want to have that franchise quarterback.
We certainly did not see franchise quarterback material out of him this year.
No, we did not.
But, man, maybe with the right coaching, we could see a different Will Grier next year. I mean, who's to say what he learned out of this season, or if he learned it all? I mean, that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. But he's got like one more shot, I think, before or one more shot to say what his NFL career is going to be, if there is going to be one. And that's
all right, are you ready to put a little powder on it?
Okay, so I was looking around for
the next thing being the powder, coach.
I was looking for the perfect Game of Thrones sound effect to put in here, something referring to Jon Snow, such as "You Know Nothing," but I couldn't find it, basically because I'm also
nothing, Phil Snow.
Yeah, I hope Phil Snow knows something, because he's now officially the Panthers defensive coordinator. He's also a bit. Yeah, and
he's 64 years old. He knows a bit. He balances out the Joe Brady side.
Really, and the rule in Brady, but he does have some NFL experience. This may not put the warm and fuzzies in your heart, but he spent 4 seasons as the Lions defensive assistant.
Wait,
coach.
Which 4 seasons?
I did not.
It wasn't that 0-16 season, was it?
I'm trying to spin it. I'm trying to spin it well here.
This has been a while. He's been to 2 schools already under rule, and their relationship, which we'll go into in a second. But no, it was not the 0-16 season.
Oh,
no, but he was forced with the 4 seasons he was with the Lions. He was the defensive assistant. Now, is that like the Dwight Schrute defensive position, or is it
probably?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Ashlyn, you have some insight into Phil Snow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was just looking at it the other day. So he did come from Baylor along with Matt Rule. So actually, Phil Snow is the one that gave Matt Rule his first grad assistant job out in California. I want to say UCLA it was. So Phil Snow was out at UCLA as the defensive coordinator, brought in Matt Rule, was very impressed by him, hired him as a grad assistant. they ended up going separate ways. Matt Rule ended up right before Baylor getting the head coaching job at Temple, in which he called Phil Snow and said, I need you to be my defensive coordinator. So it went from mentor relationship. Well, he's still, I mean, Matt Rule still says Phil Snow is a mentor of his. But then he ended up, Phil Snow said, I never wanted to be a head coach. I wanted to be a coordinator. I love, and he loves the X's and O's. He loves drawing up the playbooks. He loves all of that. So he followed Matt Rule to Temple, followed Matt Rule to Baylor, and actually Matt Rule has said he's never won a game as a head coach without Phil Snow as his DC. So,
Well,
we better pray nothing happens to Phil Snow.
Do you want the bad news or the good news first?
well, we've already heard so much good news from Ashlyn. Why don't you go ahead and pee in the punch bowl, Jayme?
Okay, well, he was the assistant coach at the Lions during the 0-16 season. It was from 2005 to 2008, and while he was there, they had 15 wins.
Oh, okay.
So so he wasn't there when the Lions were even mediocre. That's kind of sad to not hear. I will say this though, for 65, he looks great.
Yeah, he does.
Man, damn, I was like, wow, that dude's 65. I was gonna say maybe 45, maybe 50. Well, 50.
He works out.
Yeah, I bet he does. That doesn't give me warm fuzzies though. That his NFL experience was with that Lions team.
Well, but since then, he's gone back to college and turned around 2 programs along with Rule. So,
You know, there's a lot. There's some work history that I'm not so proud of too.
Yeah, I mean that's true for everybody. Maybe you learn more from your failures than your successes.
That's very, very true.
maybe that you chose the wrong company, and that might have been what he did.
Continuing the Baylor bandwagon, Franklin Oakham has been hired as the defensive line coach. Thank goodness. Now, another Steelers connection here. Samir Suleiman, he's been hired as the capologist. Now, this is not a new position. The other capologist the Panthers had went with Rivera to Washington. So this is a not really a new position, but it's someone who's going to be watching the salary cap. Do we have any idea if Marty Hurney is going to still be there or not?
If I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I would say he's not going to be there.
I get that feeling as well.
And I'm hoping, but you know what? That's me going with my gut, and I'm just hoping that he's gone.
I don't want another Gettleman situation, though.
I mean, if you're going to clean house, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to hire that assistant GM position, and that just makes me think he likes Marty. He's keeping Marty because they would have already done that, and they've already been interviewing people for this assistant GM role. That why would you let Marty be hiring that and then get rid of him and bring in a new GM?
Do you think he's going to make Marty train his replacement?
Probably. Yes. He's a smart businessman. You guys keep forgetting.
I don't know if that's a smart move, though.
Oh, Marty may retire.
That's true.
Yeah, let him.
Not a young buck anymore.
No,
he wasn't a young.
But let him get a year with this new assistant GM, and then let him retire and ride off into the sunset.
All right,
I'm good with that.
The Pro Bowl is this weekend, isn't it? This weekend?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. As you can tell, we are really invested.
Very excited.
Pro Bowl.
So exciting! I'm more excited about this Reese's Senior Bowl, but no, the Reese's Senior Bowl is all the college kids that are still vying for a spot. It's getting to be a bigger and bigger game where it's a good showcase.
Yeah, cool. Well, Christian McCaffrey will not be playing in the Pro Bowl because with the new coaching changes, the Panthers have moved their spring workouts up 2 weeks. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with no. I like that he got selected, but I don't really want to see our guys play.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to see him play anyway.
Especially since, nobody's going to. Well, I'm not going to watch it. So for me personally, I don't want to see any of our players out there. But yeah, I like the honor. I almost feel like at this point the Pro Bowl should just be a not a game that's actually played, but they just select all the players and say, "Hey, this is just do it as an award." So you made the All-Star team for this year.
Like an honorary thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Well, I guess there's reasons they still play it, but
They're not what they used to be.
I don't think it ever was something though.
Yeah, All-Star games are kind of
The hockey ones are good, and the baseball has the home run derby.
It's worse than the Hall of Fame game, because at least the Hall of Fame game breaks the drought of football between February and August.
And it's
this
a
is just
preseason
like
game. It's a warm-up game.
Yeah, it is. This is just like, all right.
Yeah, I just don't get excited about the Pro Bowl anymore, and I barely did when I used to actually watch it. But there's some great shootouts in the past where, I mean, they would score like 45 to 42 type matches.
well, because you're not really tackling.
Right. They're just it's a showcase for the offenses.
They really should put flags on. It should be a glorified flag football
Yeah,
game.
I think they should.
That would be fun.
I think they should. Didn't they do a skills competition one year?
Yeah, they do all kind of stuff around.
Well,
it.
they've done the thing too where the team captains got to choose their teams and stuff. And all too. So it wasn't AFC versus NFC.
Yeah, that was only 3 years. I like the NFC versus AFC angle to it, but I almost rather see them do like a field day type of thing where they compete.
Well, they do
like
that.
a combine.
But don't they do the things like where they have the kickers out there playing tic-tac-toe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I'd like that.
So you'd rather just like a combine?
Well,
Field.
I guess, but more of a field day where they're playing like football-related games.
So like water balloons where you take one step back.
Yeah, find a way to do something like shuffleboard, but with a
Throw an
football.
egg at each other without it breaking.
Yeah.
Carry it with a spoon and race around the tackle dummies.
Or they could have flags and like play a glorified tag or something like that. I mean,
capture the flag.
Red Rover. Oh my God.
I mean, something.
Oh my God.
mean,
Could you imagine Red Rover with some certain people?
Oh man.
Like, and then you'd have OBJ who'd be like, "Don't touch me, don't touch me." Sorry.
No, yeah, but that's what I would like to see. I think that would be a pretty exciting stuff.
Now I want to see an NFL Red Rover. It's like not even allowed on the playgrounds anymore because like people are getting clotheslined. But I want to see this now.
They could play dodgeball.
I was going to say dodgeball would be awesome.
I know.
Oh, dodge, duck, dive, dip, dodge.
But I mean, even if they did like a field goal kicking competition where you just had the kickers lining up and or playing horse with the field goals, that could be fun. Like they got.
I'm going to do a double doink.
Right, they got to kick it from different spots on the field, and
do the trick ones.
Yeah,
so
or
I'm
they
going to do a double doink from the left hash on the 60-yard line.
Yeah, or I was thinking. That would be more exciting than what I was thinking. I was just thinking longest field goal. So they started on the 45 and just keep going back.
All right, let's keep this moving along. Let's talk about Cam Newton. There's a trade rumor going around. Who reported it? Was it Ian Rappaport that reported that the Panthers are?
I mean, they said that for an exorbitant amount of money, they'd consider it.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
I mean, I'd consider anything for an exorbitant amount of money.
I think it's on the table, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think there's any much to it. It's just something that Tepper's probably going to consider all options, but it's not something that
I think if we got that first pick, I think if that was on the table as an option, you would not see Cam Newton. I think that might have been part of the game plan.
Who's going to be the first pick this year?
Cincy.
No, I mean, and from the player, what player is going to go?
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, definitely.
Okay, and he plays.
And then
I guess.
Yeah, he's quarterback for LSU.
That's. I mean, when I say I don't watch college football, I don't watch college football.
Yeah, he just won the Heisman and the national championship. No big deal.
Who won the national championship?
LSU.
Yeah, they beat.
Okay, so that's where not Phil Snow, Joe Brady came from. Okay.
And remember,
yes.
in the South, it's pronounced Clemson with a P.
Yes,
Clemson.
There's 3 P's
with a P and a Z.
Yeah, Clemson. Yeah.
There's 3
Clemson.
P's in Clemson, right?
Oh man, I'm some corners of the Carolinas. There probably is.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, I think there was something like that. Honestly, with the 7th pick, if he's still on the board, Andrew Thomas. I'm going to just keep saying Andrew Thomas. He's that left tackle.
But you're suggesting that we would trade Cam presumably to Cincinnati for the number 1 quarterback in the draft. And
yes.
Do you think so? That would be a previous number 1 quarterback for a younger number 1 quarterback. Do you think this guy's going to be as good as Cam?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, Cam is like a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He is.
Okay.
But it's not going to happen because Cincy has said, don't even ask. We're not trading it and we're taking Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. We're just kind of navel gazing here. So, all right, let's move right along. Again, like Cody called in, we'd still love to hear from you. Share your thoughts on the podcast, the Panthers, coaching changes, player moves, whatever you want. Leave us your own final thought at 704-228-0890. We're going to keep that number active, 704-228-0890. Okay, we got a lot of cool stuff coming up with the Roaring Riot. With this being the Roaring Riot podcast, we have to talk about it because it's a lot of fun. If you missed the Checkers game in Charlotte over the last weekend, you missed out because there was I missed out too. I didn't get a chance to go down, but a lot of folks did, and they had a blast. Now, coming up in February, the Riot supporter and exclusive supporter subscriptions will renew. On February 8th, that's going to be Roaring Riot Night with the Charlotte Hornets. On March 28th, that is the Carolina Hurricanes takeover. And then April 23rd through the 26th, we're talking about Vegas. That is going to be the trip. Yes. Now let's go ahead, cross 2 items off the old bucket list as the Roaring Riot hits the strip hard with your family.
Did you hear what they announced today for the draft, how they're doing it?
What's that?
It's on the fountains at the Bellagio.
Really?
And the players will be brought via boat to the stage when they're drafted.
This is totally just
Las Vegas.
This is Vegas.
That's insane.
So
yeah, it's going to be the stage, everything with the fountains going to be on the water at the Bellagio fountains with boats.
Holy cow. Well, the Roaring Riot is putting together a trip there. You do not want to miss it. We're going to have flights, hotels, and the draft day experience. Find out more at roaringriot.com. Few other dates for you to keep in mind. This, by the way, the draft experience kicked off on January 10th. So I know it's going to fill up fast. Also, May 1st, that is when memberships renew. So please update your address, your t-shirt size, your payment method, and everything before May 1st. So there you go. Like I said, a few other items. February 8th is going to be the Hornets versus the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to tailgate from 5 o'clock, starting at 5 o'clock at Vida Mexican Kitchen and Cantina. The game is at 7 o'clock. And then Saturday, March 28th, that is when the Panthers, or the Roaring Riot, will be heading to Raleigh to watch the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, a lot of fun stuff for the offseason between now and the draft, and including the draft. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot more experiences between the draft and training camp. So, let's talk about can we say Super Bowl? I'm sure we can. We'll say it until
Super Bowl.
Yeah, the superb owl. We'll say it till we get a letter. Sunday, February 2nd. That at 6:30 p.m. That's kickoff. So it's the Kansas City Chiefs, the 12-4 Chiefs versus the 13-3 49ers. Jayme, what about this matchup?
Well, I've got a few fun Super Bowl stats first.
What's that?
Well, the NFC leads the AFC 27-26, and this is after the NFC has held this lead since the 1990 season. So the reason they've got such a big league is because they won they won 13 Super Bowls in a row from the 1980s to the 1990s. So what I find interesting about this is that KC with a win can end the NFC's lead and tie it up at 27-all. Which is similar to Super Bowl IV when KC won their first Super Bowl and only Super Bowl. They ended the NFC's lead, or back then it was the NFL's lead because it was the pre-merger. But the record was 2-1 in Super Bowls. KC won and made it 2-2. So now they have an opportunity to stand up for the AFC again and tie it all up and just do a reset button on this competition between the AFC and the NFL, or AFC and the NFC. Going into the history of these two teams, there really isn't much history. Being that they were playing in the two different conferences, they've only met 13 times. And
in the entire
history of
merger.
Since the merger. Well, actually, since the merger.
Wow.
The 49ers have been around since 44 or 45, and KC's been around since 1960. They've played 13 times. The away team won the first 3 matches, and since 1985, the home team has won every game. And I think an interesting to note, if you're a betting person and you like streaks, Kansas City is going to be designated as the home team in the Super Bowl because they alternate every other year. So that's a +1 in the KC column if you're going to be weighing pros and cons on who to bet on for the big game.
I love what Andy Reid was quoted as saying he did after winning the AFC, that he ate a cheeseburger and went to bed.
Yeah.
That's so Andy Reid.
Well, that's what you do. You got to keep your routine. It's like, okay, yeah, we won a championship, but it's not over. We got one more game to win. So back to
dinner
work.
in bed.
I am really excited about this Super Bowl matchup.
I am too. I was about to say that.
Yeah.
You are?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I like both these teams. I can't decide who I want to win this game.
Oh, I'm easy on this. I'm KC all the way.
You like the Chiefs?
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, well, for the historicals, I want them to bring balance to the force. And I want them to even it out, AFC and NFC all even.
I think they deserve it. If you look at the collective body of work the last 2 years, I love Mecole Hardman. I'm super excited for him. I love Patrick Mahomes. How can you not love Kermit the Frog?
He's pretty good.
I agree.
But then I'm excited for Jimmy GQ to be doing so well. So, and you've got Sammy Watkins out there.
The 49ers have played absolutely lights out football this season.
They've been pretty good.
They
remind me a lot of the Panthers in 2015.
They beat the living hell out of the Packers.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did twice.
And here's the thing: I haven't been
twice.
I haven't been bought in on the 49ers all season. I've felt like they've been overachieving. And
did you see what they did to us?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wasn't too.
Yeah, but that was
surprised.
when we were still decent because we beat the Titans and we beat.
It was before we were exposed, but
we still had a couple of wheels on the car.
Yeah, we hadn't completely.
That was when there was still hope, and they demolished us.
I know, but still, in the second half of the season, they weren't destroying teams like they were in the first half of the season, and I don't know. I just felt like they were a bit of a flash in the pan because they kind of came out of nowhere after what they did last season. And
well, that's because Jimmy G was injured all last season.
Yeah, that's true. But I just haven't. I have not bought into the 49ers as being that great, and I think the Chiefs have been more consistent. They've been playing well for a longer period of time. Andy Reid is just. I've always thought he's a good coach. He deserves it. But I mean, he's got to earn it. You can't just hand him a championship. And
why we did the Broncos when Peyton was retiring. Sorry.
Yeah, well, but we don't have that situation here. Andy Reid's not talking about retirement, from what I can tell. So, yeah, I'm all in on KC on this one. And plus, it's been 50 years since they've won. It's only been 25 since San Francisco won. And also, I'm always got to root against the team that's got 5+ Super Bowls. So I'm said 5+ because there's Pittsburgh and New England out there too. I'm not going to root for teams that have that many Super Bowls. So
I think up here, a lot of people are pulling for Jimmy G, but I think it's kind of interesting. And obviously, they hate the Chiefs because the Chiefs are taking their spot and, almost took them out last year and beat them this year at home. And so they're not fans of the Chiefs up here and they want to see good things. I think it's hilarious if Jimmy G goes out there and wins a Super Bowl, knowing that he was the future of the Patriot franchise and
They stuck
even
with
against
me.
Bill Belichick's wishes, they got rid of it.
That is
it
funny.
makes me laugh
So
every time.
I can see how you have a personal interest in wanting to see him win a Super Bowl.
I do, but I have personal interest in a couple of the Kansas City guys. So I'm just excited. I think it's gonna be a great game.
I hope not. I hope it's just Kansas City delivering a beatdown.
No,
Oh, they're so boring.
You're
Yeah.
right. They are boring, but I don't want to be on the fence. I don't want to be nervous. But I'm all in on Kansas City winning this one. I did pick Kansas City to win the Super Bowl before the season started. I did not pick them to win it when the playoffs started. I picked the Ravens to go all the way, and that my playoff bracket that I picked right before the playoffs started is just a complete disaster. But my playoff bracket,
Titans.
my playoff bracket that I picked before the season started, much better situation, and half the teams didn't even make it. So, I don't know. Yeah, what is your opinion on this, Keith? Did you pick a team?
Not really. I would like to see Kansas City go all the way, just because we have a couple of former Panthers on there, and Butker and Matt Moore is there to back up Patrick Mahomes. But
My homies.
I have to respect what San Francisco has done, that they have really dominated all the way through, and I'm looking forward to a good game. That's really all I can say.
It's such a good game.
It is. I think it really.
I'm
really
so
is.
excited for the Super Bowl, and I think it's partially because the Pats aren't in it.
I think that's what it is
more
for a lot of people.
Like, it's exciting again.
Yeah, I think that definitely is what it is for a lot of people, because we're just sick of the Patriots. And I mean, as a Patriots fans, couldn't you say you're kind of relieved to kind of have this time of year off for once?
I don't know. I can't speak for them.
But I mean, if you're
No, they're not relieved. They are not happy.
Well, no, but when you lost to the Titans as a Patriots fan, weren't you kind of glad that if you weren't going to win the Super Bowl, you got out early, and then because I mean, it's like, okay, we didn't.
No,
get it this
they're
year,
not
but
happy about
But
that.
you got 6 of them.
When they lost,
years.
that was so delicious. Watching Bill Belichick have his freak out on the side because Vrabel was using his same tricks to burn off the clock just made me giddy inside.
I know for the rest of us, but for if you're a Patriots fan, you're like, well, it had to end sometime. You've won so much over 20 years.
They're not ready for it to be over. But you know what? I blame Ollie. Ollie came along. The Bruins lost the Stanley Cup. The Red Sox sucked. And now the Pats don't make that. I'm like, yay. It's Ollie's bringing down. Oh, and Bama didn't make the national championship. So
then your dog really is
she's adamant about this Pats thing being out.
Weighing in here.
She's like, why are you talking about the Patriots? That's not allowed in this house. No, stop. She's trying to censor me. That's what's going on.
But
she's all good until you bring up the Patriots.
But here's the sad thing: is like we're talking about the Super Bowl and we're still talking about the Patriots, and that's, that's
not going to change for a little while.
I know, but if you're a Patriots fan, I mean, that's got to make you smile, because it's just like that's how dominant they've been. So it's like even when they're not there, they're still part of the conversation. And
only slightly. It'll phase out.
Yeah, eventually it will. But
stop saying Patriots so she can chill out.
Moving right along. As far as this game goes, it's the Super Bowl is one of those unique experiences where usually it's just a crappy game and you just watch the commercials, and the commercials have just been equally as bad as the game lately. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be one where I'm really looking forward to the game. And
that's true. It's been a few years since I've actually been looking forward to watching the Super Bowl.
There's this one time in February of 2016, I was really looking forward to the Super Bowl, but that changed very fast.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of into the... Now, I'm not a Philadelphia Eagles hater, so I was kind of excited about that one. But it still had the Patriots in it, so it took some of the fun out of it.
No, it didn't.
No, what, when they lost? Or
when they lost, that didn't take any fun out of it.
But I mean the pregame hype. Like, I was a little down because the Patriots were still going. But there have been some good ones.
I'm going to buzz you every time you say that.
I know, and I'm going to bring the dog just to
The
sit
name?
here and
Okay, we won't.
yap at you.
Well, that was the last time we'll say that name.
They who shall not be named.
I'll say the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl was actually really entertaining.
Yes, it was.
Even though
the Patriots won.
I was not looking forward to that at all, but it had the only good possible ending out of that matchup that there could have been. Just to have the most epic collapse in history of the Super Bowl or championship games.
Didn't with Tennessee? Was it 41 unanswered points that the Chiefs had against the Titans?
Texans.
Or the Texans?
Yeah, they scored 41 unanswered. I mean, that game was 3 blowouts in one. You had the Texans do 24-0 in the first quarter, 28-0 in the second quarter by the Chiefs, and then 23-7 in the second half.
See, that's why I think that the Chiefs are going to run with it. I think that. Well, I don't know. I hope it's a good game. I really do.
Yeah,
it'll be.
I would like a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, but the games this past weekend, the Chiefs and Titans game was the only remotely good one. And it was just the first half because they actually traded off and kept it close. But the second half, the Chiefs do what they do, and they just took control. But
and with the Green Bay game, you got to listen to all the pregame of Aaron Rodgers saying, "Here's why they won't crush us again."
Gosh.
Yeah, guess what?
Man, that game was just awful to watch.
Ugly. That's why I was glad I was at the wedding, and we'd had a few apple juices. And it was funny to watch the score on my phone, so I enjoyed it that way.
You know, I just realized something.
What's that?
I think it's this is Panthers related, but it's also related to the team that shall not be named. In that span of 5 years?
To be angry.
5 years where that team was going to Super Bowls, we were the one game they didn't go. And that's kind of nice.
But that wasn't our fault. That was the Rick Peyton Manning side.
Yes, that's true.
Tinfoil hat.
That's true. But it was the one season in that 5-year span where it wasn't. There were no.
I wasn't.
Tom Brady's.
We'd have beaten the Patriots.
We
would have.
I got to give a shout out to the guys over at the Panthers subreddit because they just recently posted the annual reminder that Jericho Kuechly did actually catch that ball. Appreciate that, guys.
They do that every year.
Yeah.
How did you remember to do that?
The annual reminder.
Facebook memories.
Do you put that on a repeat this event every year on your Google Calendar?
It was a remind me feature on Reddit. You can say remind me.
Can you schedule Reddit posts like you can tweets?
No.
Man, that's just something that I think it's funny, and I'm glad they do that. But I could never remember to do that.
Well, Blakeman remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah. All right. Shall we wrap it up?
I think so.
All right. Bring us home, Jerry.
And now, of course, it's time for my final thought.
In radio, when you're fired or you're moving on, you usually find out about it after your last shift. It's rare for a goodbye show. And by the way, this is not one of them. But I am going to be stepping away from hosting duties for a while. I'm going to help advise Ashlyn and Jayme on content, but probably will not be involved in the week-to-week production of the podcast. Why is that? Because I simply do not have time. When we started this podcast, I think it was 5 years ago, Jayme, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
God almighty. Well, I asked the question, how is it possible to fill at least 45 minutes talking about the Panthers? And I had no idea what this would become. I am in awe of what the Riot has become and how much it has grown. And that's thanks to our listeners. It's thanks to you. And that makes this, that's what makes this group is the people that are in it. And the NFL has become a year-round juggernaut. And now I realize that we could do a podcast every single day about the Panthers alone. And especially right now with what's going on with the coaching changes, new coordinators coming in, and the general buzz around the team, and as well as Major League Soccer. Charlotte's becoming a sports team, sports town, which is kind of surprising. there's going to be a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. But right now, I'm sad to say that I simply do not have the time to put together the quality level of programming that what I consider is good enough to sit down behind this mixing board and microphone. And we have so much great talent within the Riot Network. It is a pleasure working alongside with Den, Josh, Zach, Jayme. I'm going to leave a lot of folks out, but this the tailgates already missed them. We've got a lot of great folks that work here within the virtual halls that we have, and we've worked hard to make sure there's no shortage of quality Panthers podcasts for your listening enjoyment. So for now, this is not much of a goodbye. I know it's the end of the season, but it's more of I hope to be back. I hope to think of this as Agent K's retirement from Men in Black without the mind wipe, and without the post office job. We are going to be entering an exciting time to be a Panthers fan, so I'm going to just be a fan for a while. In the meantime, I want Ashlyn and Jayme to continue being the capable stewards they are of handling the show. So that's really it. I really don't have a lot of time right now, and I know it is the off season, so we're probably going to be scaling back anyway. I hope to be back.
We hope we don't even miss you.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
This was probably going to be the last episode of the season anyway.
Well, I can't guarantee I'll be back for the draft. That's
right.
What I'm
We got you covered on the draft. We're good on the draft.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll let you take a little break.
Thank you.
We'll do something for the draft. Maybe I'll just moderate it, and we'll bring on some people to talk about it, and I'll just sit there and direct traffic while the people who actually know college football take the lead on it.
Now, Jayme,
Hi, Jayme. My name's Ashlyn.
I know. No, Ashlyn will be there. I was actually talking to you, Ashlyn. I'm thinking, who else can we bring in to for you to talk to?
There's a couple. There's a couple good things.
Yeah, I can't feed into I can't do draft talk. I just can't do it.
I have a couple people I was gonna help bring in with that too. So we've got a good group. There's a lot of people that you'd be surprised that you guys may know. Some you may not that follow college, but might even get a guest appearance that's going to be really surprising for everyone. But it should be very, very good because I know an expert that I get a lot of commentary from. So yeah. It should be exciting. Draft we are good with, and then Keith's got a lot on his plate with his company, and we don't want that to slow down by any means. But
yeah,
we wish you much in that, but at the same time, when the season rolls back around, we'll definitely, hopefully, get you a little bit of breathing time.
So what I can do with that draft discussion is moderate and learn along with the audience who also needs to know what we should be watching for in the draft.
There you go. It's a learning opportunity.
That's what it will be for me. I mean, that's what it is for me every year.
Now, Jayme, you're also producing some YouTube videos that are quite good.
I'm trying. It's a new thing that I'm trying to do right now, and just by myself and whatever content I can scrounge together. I'm trying to do about 10 minutes.
And also because we couldn't coordinate a time to sit down to discuss.
Right. And I feel like I don't like that we take off for the playoffs, but when we're not talking Panthers games, it's hard for us to go because we're not really in depth. We don't have in-depth knowledge of these other teams that we're watching. But I at least want to talk about the playoffs. I think at least on a high level, and I'm very interested in the history of the NFL and the history of these teams. So when I sit down and talk about these playoff matchups, I'm talking about the history of the teams, and I think it was really interesting with the Titans and the Chiefs, how both of those two franchises started in 1960, but they started as the Houston Oilers and the Dallas Texans, and
right.
So I thought it was cool to be able to look at these two franchises from that historical perspective. And that's one of the things that frustrates me about this Super Bowl is these two teams don't actually have a historical perspective, other than that both of them have been around for a long, long time. But they haven't played.
And one of them's Tom Brady's favorite team, quarterbacked by Tom Brady's favorite backup.
Right. So all of their history is really it's more or less recent history. They've played each other as many times in the last 20 years as they did the first 30. So
Wow.
That's what I like about the NFL is the history, the longevity of everything, and
Well, and
tracking
you
what's
have your
happening.
own data that you've crunched
Oh
together.
yeah, yeah. I've got a pretty massive database. Unfortunately, it only goes back to 1990, and I've considered putting in all the records back to at least the 1970 from the merger. But I went to 1990 because that was when the 12-team playoff started. So I had to analyze for a long time. I was really interested in playoff data and how maybe how the bye weeks affected teams and stuff like that. So going back to 1990 made sense because this playoff structure has been the same even though we had the realignment in 2002. We were still using the same model. And another interesting thing to note, and this is the kind of stuff I really get into, but the thing that we are in the longest period of stability in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, because for the last 18 years, we've been using the same structure for how the league works. And before that, they would go 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. But actually, I think the most is 12 years. So it's kind of cool that we're in the longest period of stability for the NFL that they've ever seen.
Which is another reason why if we add one more team, we have to add 7 as well. Just to balance the whole thing out.
Mm-hmm.
This is really nice.
But that's what I've been doing, and I might do one. I don't know if I'm going to do one more next week or not because I'm not going to talk about the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. I'm not going to watch it.
If there's some Panthers news that breaks, and if I have the opportunity, I'll happily jump on.
And if Christian McCaffrey doesn't win Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going to be very upset with some people.
Yeah, but seriously, there's no shortage of podcasts on the Riot Network. All right, I feel like I took over too much there. Ashlyn, do you have a final thought to end out the season?
No, I mean, I think we've talked about a lot of things, and I'm excited to start working on things for the draft. Again, I'd already had a couple people lined up to come in with us, so I look forward to that. I've got to decide on if I'm actually going to try to maybe think about going somewhere to watch it called Bellagio, but we'll it's over because Ollie's draft baby. It's his birthday weekend, so it makes that going to be near impossible all the time. He was born in the day of the second round, so I probably won't be there. It makes me kind of sad, but.
Well, what better first birthday party can he have than being in Vegas at a draft party?
Seriously, I'm already planning his party, and it's not Vegas, but that just gave me an idea. So he's already done his first football game. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about the draft. I'm excited for the Panthers just opened up a whole world of new needs that we weren't planning with the linebacker position. Potential with the quarterbacks. I do not want to see Tua get drafted as a Panther. I will say that now. And I hope I don't come back to where I did a few years ago where I said, if we draft Cam Newton, I'm becoming a Falcons fan again. Yeah, there was a time because I hated him so much coming out of Auburn. I don't hate Tua the same way. It's much more objective. I don't think he's going to translate as well into the NFL, but yeah, we'll be there for the draft. We'll figure out the format if we're going to put it on here, if we're going to do some live feeds, but we'll definitely have a lot of feedback during the draft. And I've got some people that are going to be really awesome coming in to help discuss.
Excellent.
That's a good idea.
What's the last thing on your mind?
Well, he kind of set me up there already. I was going to talk about the YouTube videos I go. So I'll go ahead and just double down on that.
Sure.
I have been making some YouTube videos. They do have a lot of cuts, but that's because I do them live and then I want to make them concise for people who want to watch them later. Because otherwise they'd be like me rambling on for about 20 minutes. So I've shrunk them down to like 10 minutes, 10, 11, 12 minutes. I just want everybody. I want to say thanks to you, Keith. You've really driven this show, and said it. Got us on pace and to get everything done. I want to thank you a lot for that. And I know this isn't going to be the end because I'm still expecting you to say, "All right, I'm ready. Got everything taken care of, and I'm ready to go once the training camp stuff starts up in July." So,
well, I want to get it done too, but there's good, fast, and cheap, and it's not going to be.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. I know, but that's 6 months.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully we can get things done in that time.
Yeah, hopefully you get your car done.
You're not allowed to have a real life outside of this podcast, Keith. Come on, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I hope to have my MG finished by then too.
How much longer do you think you have on that?
Well, I've been fighting with the damn fuel pump the last couple of weeks, and let me tell you, when the wind's howling outside and it's about 30 degrees, laying on a concrete floor underneath a tiny British car is not fun.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good time at all.
No.
I'm really impressed.
But it's such a good car.
I'm really impressed on this project that you're undertaking. Are you going to get any body work done once you're done with getting it up and running?
The only thing is I hit a deer. Well, a deer hit me in it. So the right front fender is kind of crunched, but I've got a new one that's going on it. There's a little rust that needs to be addressed.
What color are we going to make this
are you
car?
going to paint it? I was kind of going with that.
Baby turd yellow color. It's 1973, so it's,
Are you going to try to keep it to original or try to...
yeah, no, I'm not going to paint it.
Why don't you give it like a turquoise blue or like a eggshell blue or something?
Because it's already this mustard yellow color right now. And
you could Panther it up.
No. But it's going to be, it's kind of a rare car too. It's it's a 73 model. It's before they put this horrible overriders.
Is it a midget?
It's a midget, yeah.
That's what my mom used to drive, so I've heard about them my whole life.
It has those split rear chrome bumpers, because chrome bumpers all around. And it's one of the few years that they had the rounded wheel well in the back, and it has a blue interior, a navy blue interior.
Puke yellow and navy blue.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's not the puke yellow, which is harvest gold, which is god awful. But
it's brown, right?
The technical color is the British Motor Heritage called it is it's bronze yellow is the color.
Okay.
Can you paint the engine?
The engine has already been painted. It has been painted the original Rolls-Royce green. So that is done. The engine has been completely reassembled. I just finished rebuilding the carburetors. Which
did you really?
I did, and I found a washer that I left off of it. So God knows where that goes. Yeah, it has 2 carburetors on it, and I just finished rebuilding the fuel pump. So I smelled like gasoline for a couple of days. It was wonderful. Pulled the gas tank off to have it steamed and took it down to the guy. And the guy said, "How much is a new one?" I told him, he's like, "Yeah, it's going to be cheaper to get a new one." So we got a new one. So it's fun. So it's all coming together. Got a couple cans of Easy Off. We're going to spray that in the engine bay, get it cleaned out, and then get the engine bay painted. So.
And you couldn't have done this if you hadn't moved.
Yeah, I know. It's just something that I picked up on doing. Said, hey, why not?
Yeah, I wanted to work on a car too, probably about 10 years ago. But once I got into the townhouse life and realized you got to have a garage to be able to do this.
Yeah,
I had to give up on that dream.
Kind of look down upon you doing that in a condo.
Yeah, you really can't do it with a condo.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna call that it for the 2019 season, and we look forward to 2020. And you guys have a great time. I'll be back at some point. I hope. That's it. Please listen to Not What You Think, Carolina Line, It Is What It Is, and One Day Contract. They're all part of the Riot Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Let me apologize for the hour and 2 minutes you're never going to get back. So thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you guys. Go Panthers.
Keep pounding.
Well, that was a good one. And I'm not even going to do a promo for this one. I don't think it's necessary.
It's not going to require a lot of edits.
There's no edits. No, I mean, after we do it, I usually do a network promo for all the other podcasts.
Oh, yeah. It's at the end of the season. Like, all of my YouTube videos, the viewers have just completely... The audience is gone.
Really?
Yeah.
I think people are tired. I think people are really tired of...
You got the people who are just feed on Panthers news 24/7, 365. Those people are still, you'll still see them hanging around, the ones that'll start trouble in like your message, the message groups or whatever, and they'll just throw out weird things to talk about.
Start trouble? What do you mean by that? Oh, people just rabble
Well,
rousing.
they'll just come up with some stupid hypothetical, or not even. It is a hypothetical, but they won't present it that way. They'll say we should get rid of Cam or whatever, and they'll just do it to start up trouble in a like in Reddit or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
so you have those guys, but I think the regular fans are just they've packed everything away and they're moving on. Wait until probably training camp or the draft at least.
yeah, it's tough to follow along, and like I said, I guess last episode, it just feels like the 2018 season just never ended, or as you said, Jayme, like
Groundhog.
it was like Groundhog Day, yeah, because it really was. And Ashlyn, you nailed it right there. That October, that's just the end of. That's the Panthers can only play 8 games.
No, I hate it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not going to be your same Panthers next year.
It's not going to even resemble
It's
the
going to be a
same Panthers.
completely different situation. Oh man, next
Excited.
season I think is going to be a long season. We're going to be showing up for us.
Well, we did that this year.
No, I think it's
Good
going to
about
be a
it.
decent season. I don't think we'll go the distance, but I think at least a 500 season. I don't think it's going to be that crappy.
I think at best a 500 season. We don't even need to think about the playoffs next year.
No, I think at minimum a 500 season.
Really? That's what we
Yes.
said about this year.
They don't have an option.
They don't have an option.
No.
Well, why? So they must be 500, is what you're saying.
I don't think Tepper's going to stand for anything less.
I was going to say, I don't think they have an option.
No.
The new coaching staff.
Anybody.
So let's say, what if we go 3-13 next year? What happens?
Everybody gets reset again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's that terrible, I don't know. They might give them 1 year because if you look at Temple and Baylor, but
Yeah,
it's not going to be 2 years.
Matt Rule's Baylor. Like his first year, Baylor was awful, but then.
Well,
2
it's because
years
they had
later-
no scholarships. They had no nothing.
See, I didn't understand the circumstance of that, but that when I was looking at
Yeah,
this,
there
just
was
the
a huge thing.
numbers.
They got like basically the death penalty of a program, which is all but.
And what was that for?
I mean, like they did. It was this huge sexual scandal. Like,
guys in the locker room, or
no, who was it? It was a huge thing though, like where they got stripped of all scholarships, they got stripped of all recruiting, they got.
You
I mean, it was. Huh?
Baylor?
Yeah.
wow,
They, well, yeah, and that wasn't Ken Starr part of that?
I think so. Oops, sorry.
the guy from the Clinton impeachment.
And from the Trump impeachment as well. Oh, yeah.
Part of Baylor?
Yes. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I don't really remember
Well,
this.
look, Baylor football, NCAA. There's a growing fear that the NCAA simply has it in
The
for
last
school.
college football scandal I paid attention to was Joe Paterno. When he
Oh,
died.
That was
And then
gross.
the statue coming down or whatever. Or they were talking about taking I haven't really paid attention since then.
Ken
that
Starr
was-
was as president of Baylor University after school was rocked by sexual assault scandals.
Yeah.
Disgraced former Baylor University president Ken Starr, best known for his role investigating Bill Clinton, has been added to the Trump legal defense team. Sort of. Hold on.
Here's what it was. According to sources, the NCAA believes that football players at Baylor had a different set of rules than students when it came to disciplinary cases. That's a major violation if the NCAA can prove it. The NCAA feels that Baylor was using a dated system to handle the football program, much the way problems were addressed in the 70s or 80s.
So they had a different set of disciplinary rules than the rest of the
Like there was all these sexual assault things, but
from
they
football players and
got it because the optics of mishandling sexual assault claims at one of its member institutions, one that has a record of bad headlines this century, cannot go unpunished.
This article on Raw Story also says the sexual assault scandal began after a Baylor football player, Sam, I'm not even going to say it, Uchawu, was convicted of rape in July. An appeals court reversed the decision and ordered a new trial for the second time in 2 years. Testimony during the trial revealed that though Baylor investigated the allegations against him, it failed to take any punitive action. Soon after the conviction, a wave of additional sexual assault allegations were made by female students. An investigation by an outside law firm retained by the university found a pervasive mishandling of sexual assault cases. So, yeah.
And it says in one case, a member of the administration directed the academic status of a football player to former Baylor president Ken Starr, who handled the situation to keep the player eligible.
And so
there was a whole lot of things. And then it was another sexual assault was ignored by administrators and hidden from the athletic department.
So all this happened like up through 2016, and then they cleaned house, and Matt Rule came in after that.
Well,
Yes.
it wasn't just that. Up through 2016, after they cleaned house, they docked. They really nailed Baylor. Didn't they strip the scholarships from
All
them?
scholarships and recruiting was curbed, and Baylor issued a letter that he didn't handle anything incorrectly.
Well, that helps put the context of his record, or gives context to his record.
Oh yeah, that was the same thing at Temple. Temple had a huge restart into their program. He's a turnaround guy. That's what he does.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't aware of all that. Because his time at Temple wasn't spectacular.
No, but it compared to what he's a turnaround guy. He's very well known to be a guy that can build you up out of the ashes.
I just wish
I don't know what his long-term sense is, but
I wish we wouldn't be the guinea pig for seeing if his methods work in the NFL. Like, let's say he went somewhere else and turned them around after 4 years, and then we were able to steal him away because his contract was over.
Oh well.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out if he's a NFL guy.
Ain't that the truth?
He's not much older than me. He's younger than you, right, Keith?
How old is he?
He's like 45. He's 44. Yeah, he's my age. Well, he's like a year older than me.
Yeah.
He's so old.
Yeah, he's turning 45 at the end of the month. So he's our age.
I'll be 48 in April.
Oh my God, you don't look 48.
Do you want to guess on my birthday next month? Joe Brady's 30.
31.
No, 35. Mid-30s, baby.
That's the best. 30s are your best.
I was telling somebody that the other day because they were like, next decade, we were at New Year's Eve,
I hate that
we were with
29-year-old
these
drama.
25-year-olds, and they were like, the next time there's a new decade, we're going to be 35. And I'm like, honey, it only gets better because you can do shit and you can afford it over the next decade.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And she's like, no, I'm a teacher. And I'm like, well, then you'll marry somebody that can afford it. I don't know.
See, the nice thing about because I bought a little midlife crisis thing 2 weeks ago. I bought a Ms. Pac-Man cabinet that plays 60 games.
Ooh, nice.
An actual Ms. Pac-Man cabinet. Because Amy asked me, "What are you going to do with it when we move back to Arlington?" I'm like, I don't know. Fuck it. I'm going to play with it now. Yeah, I'll take it. Sure. Why not?
Well, those things have gotten so cheap, and they're really nice. They come with the screen built in, right?
And you got the letter today that somebody's trying to buy your house. So you're all set.
Can you believe it?
The seller's market, Keith.
Sellers market. Hit me up at ardmore.realty.1@gmail.com.
Well, if the housing market bottoms out again, then it might actually be the time to sell.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because you just sell, rent for a few months, and then once everything collapses, then you can buy it really cheap.
You want to say hi to Jayme?
That's what.
Where'd you go?
But this is an actual Miss Pac-Man cabinet. This guy bought it, salvaged it from a place in.
Oh, it's a real one.
Yes, it's real. This isn't one of those.
Look at the hat.
Oh, check that out.
But so they got it, Miss Pac-Man, and then they put like an emulator on it to run a bunch of games.
It's called iCade. That's around. It has 60 games on it. Oh,
But
I love that.
they're all 80s era stuff then, because
Yeah, like 1942, Junior Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, Doug, Zaxxon, good stuff.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's got to be all one button stuff if it's a real arcade machine.
Well, I rewired the two-player button to be Fire 2. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, replaced the joystick in it. But the guy I bought it from took the CRT out and put an LCD in it.
Yeah,
so
that's what they
a lot.
do.
yeah, it's not hot.
I was considering buying some of those one-up arcades because they're really nice. I like that. I like that Ninja Turtle one that has the 4 control sticks on it.
I haven't seen that.
But you can't really mod them and add games to them. And then I don't know. I just don't need that, so I'm not going to get it. But
Well,
they
I
are
didn't.
really cool and they're really cheap.
But it's nice to
He's so excited.
tell that. It's nice to just jump up during the day and just go play some video game. And Amy's sister came over yesterday, and she's addicted to Burger Time.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's something about an arcade cabinet that makes you want to play it. Like you just see it, and even though you don't really want to play those games, it's like you want to play on the old cabinet.
Oh yeah, and I'm hooking up the change the quarter system so I can actually when you feel dropping the quarter in there,
Yeah.
that makes that's a commitment.
But you just press the button, right?
It's on free play now, yeah.
Yeah. You could just have the quarter that just goes through just for the feeling of it.
Well, then it falls into the bottom of it and I have to fish it out.
He really likes this microphone.
I can tell.
Yeah, I like those old arcade cabinets, but I think it's a better way to go is to get one from the 90s and then retroactively put the older games on it, because then it can support more games just because of the hardwares.
Well, I wanted Miss Pac-Man, and it was Miss Pac-Man, so I got it. All right, guys, I got to run.
All right.
Are you gonna get going right up?
Hello.
Ollie, you're such a
Getting
good
Ollie started early on podcasting.
Uh-huh. He looked at me earlier today and went, "Oh, blah, blah." And I was like, "What? Like, what was that?"
It's all glory, buddy. No, I didn't even do this. Oh well.
Conference locked.
Yeah.
Conference locked.
There you go.
It's so funny because I've got
Conference unlocked.
since I've got the live stream up, I've got like you guys on two windows. Like I'm watching us in real time and on delay at the same time. It's so weird.
I forget that the live stream's up, so oops.
No, that's okay. I put on the live stream that it's live and uncensored and uncut.
Oh, okay. Whew.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get dinner going and get this baby down. And
Yeah, I got to go work on some more stuff.
they didn't call me today. They gave me a loaner car because they were fixing something in my car, but I haven't heard from them.
Well,
I think they closed at this point.
I hope to be around for the draft, but don't count on me for it.
Yeah, I've got Kelsey Riggs already lined up, and she does ACC Network now.
Yeah.
So like it's so funny. I watch an ACC football game, and there's Kelsey Riggs running around the stadium. She's the sideline reporter.
That's cool.
Great.
And
a
couple
it could be
things.
fun for me to have. So she's a woman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so it could be fun that I have two women talking about college football. And
well, the other
educating me.
real expert, and I don't know that I'll be able to get her to do it. My mother knows more about any college player than anybody does.
That would be so awesome if you had her on.
I know. So we'll see.
All right, I got to take off.
All right.
See you guys. Thank you.
You need
Bye.
me to do the write up.
What's that?
You need me to do the write up.
Can you please?
Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank
Great.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.